Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind, head out to Chult or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Saturday edition Gaarwarr's Guide to the Tutorial Show, or Saturday morning Gaar tunes, depending on how much music we're playing. Today's topic is going to be Grand Revel Year 6. So we're going to talk about the event, events in general, and the 3 champions. Joining me today is, I wonder if this is how well this is going to show up, is Sean. It's not going to. I forgot. Folks, it's, dang it. Why do I always do this? Why do I always remove the audio sources? Hold on. Captions are wrong. How are captions wrong? I don't understand how captions are wrong. Sean, how are the captions wrong? Oh, is it just with how it spells your name? I mean, deal with it. Deal with it. Oh boy. All right. Anyway, today's going to be. Why does it not want to? Part of this is just not working. Oh, maybe that'll work now. No. No, it will not. All right. Well, for whatever reason, that's gonna get locked. There we go. Okay. Sorry, stream not working the way I wanted to. Yeah, oh well. So today we're going to talk about Grand Revel 6. All events kind of function the same way. So we're going to talk about some general stuff. So know that when I'm talking about things, generally speaking, this is going to work for every event. And you know, for things like favor and whatnot. So whenever an event starts, you know, normally you're looking at your campaign screen and you're seeing like Grand Tour at the top. But when an event starts, the event takes over the top part on the banner on the map screen. so that you know it's kind of priority. It is limited time only. Events are only run for about 12 days. They start on a Wednesday at noon Pacifically, and they end on a Monday at noon Pacifically. And they happen every 3 weeks. Mostly. Mostly they happen every 3 weeks. If they don't, it's a rarity. And they're just shuffling the schedule a bit to make some things happen, and then it'll go back to normal. So just know, events happen every 3 weeks. Events are the delivery mechanism for new champions in the game. So every event comes with a brand spanking new champion that's never been in the game before. It also returns 2 champions from prior years. So it's only ever going to show you the newest champion and the 2 from the years right prior to that. So this is year 6. We're going to see year 4, 5, and 6 champions in this event. Years 1, 2, and 3 are what the community call retired, which is a really bad name. Still, really bad name, because it's not like you can't ever get them or they don't work. Like, you can go get them out of a time gate. They're just now time gate champions. That's the way I like to think of them. So, you know, you do the time gate thing when you need years 1, 2, and 3 champions. So even though they'll show up under the achievement list for that year, just know that only the most recent ones are available. Also, I forgot to say, because I was trying to get the audio to work right. If you have any questions with tutorial shows, I talk for like the first hour and then I answer questions in the second half. Go ahead and throw your questions in now. I see we got one in from Lightspeed. I will get to it in the second half of the show. It's one of the things Sean's going to be doing, is grabbing those questions, as long as you put question colon in the front of it. Okay, so event. We go over to the event. We click on the event. The event's going to take us to the map that the event happens on. Usually that's Sword Coast, but this time around it's going to be in Scholt. So we come over here. You're going to see your adventure node. And now you're going to see this fancy little circle above it with a number in it. I think, because I've done these already, it says 6. I think it would normally show 9. What this is telling you is that there's a bunch of stuff here beyond just normal favor and gems as rewards that you can earn. And when you hover over it, it kind of goes through a cycle, and it'll show you like the chests you can earn. And the champions you can earn. But if you click on it, you'll see, hey, there's 3 different champions available: Hew Maan, Vi, and Brother Uriah. The adventure is going to be the same between them all, so it's the missing merchants. So that means you're going to run into the same enemies and the same bosses. What's going to be different between them is the formation layout. So as you can see, here's Hew Maan's formation layout. It's a thing. It's a thing. It's a layout. It's got a lot going on. Here's Vi's, much more straightforward. And then here is Brother Uriah's for the current year. So as you can see, there are going to be different types of formations, and those formations may have different options for you. In terms of, like, are you going to be able to push? Is your formation going to work well here? Are the champions, like you're usually using, going to work well here? In this event, because of the separated nature of Hew Maan, maybe not the greatest for deep pushing for new players. Brother Uriah is a better, again, with a 2 for a 2 tank front line. And if you like the single tank front line, then Vi's is going to be the best option for you. So but yeah, I think Vi and Brother Uriah are pretty good options for pushing deep if you're trying to do deep favor runs. Hew Maan, not so much. You just do Hew Maan's to get their stuff and then get out. When you're doing these, as you can see, they'll have a difficulty, like a lot of things. The difficulty rating here, just like everywhere, it's based solely on favor, which means the more favor you get, the easier things are in events, and this works especially well about events. So really, if you're having troubles with a variant of some kind in an event, favor is going to be what helps you the most. Obviously, if you can change your formation around, whatever, but favor is the big stick you beat event stuff with. And so there are target numbers that you usually go for. I've got a guide for this. You can find my guide to Grand Revel 6 on the subreddit, and each one links to each specific champion's guide, and there's charts that tell you how much favor you need to make each thing show up super nice. I want to say it's like E4, maybe E6, E7 for the second one, and like E8 to E9 for the third one. We talk in scientific notation here. That's the numbers with the E, because it's a heck of a lot easier to just use that number as a point of reference than to try to do the math with the zeros. And remember all those numbers. Can't do it. You'll also see over here, you'll see in the top right, you'll see something called fire mints. These are event tokens. That's the generic term we use for them. You have to do anything in an event, you have to spend tokens. If you see here, just to do a free play for Humon, I have to spend 500 fire mints. This is kind of the limited availability. One of the other limited availability features of events. You can't just run event stuff forever and ever and ever, like you can time gate stuff. They limit it, so they're kind of controlling via the number of tokens you have, how much potential gear you can get, like how much you can get done. Now there are plenty of tokens over the course of an event to unlock each champion and do all their variants. What you're limiting is then how much extra gear are you getting by doing free plays, because every time you do a free play, you get a random chest. That's what this grayed out chest with a question mark means. It means random chest. So you can either get my mind today. You can either get a silver or gold chest for that champion. It is a 33% chance, or I believe, to get a gold chest. However, that means, normally on average you might see 1 in 3. But if you have bad luck, they have bad luck protection in via Pity Timer, which guarantees you, if you've done 3 free plays for the same champion and you didn't get a gold chest, you will get a gold chest guaranteed on your 4th free play. So just know that, every 4 free plays, you're guaranteed to get at least 1 gold chest. So this is the way you get extra gear for champions. Once you've done all of the stuff for them with the guaranteed gold chests from variants, like we see down here, you then go farm free plays. You don't have to push far. It just says complete area 50, so you just need to beat that boss. A lot of us will set our Modrons, if you have a Modron automation to 50 and reset it. If you're trying to do, like, there were some quests with the seasons this time around where you had to get to 51 and reset, so I just set mine to 51. But yeah, that's how you're going to farm. That's how you're going to farm gear once you've done all the regular stuff. Each champion is going to have their own set of variants. As you can see, Brother Uriah shows 3 variants off here. These do too. I've just done them before, and because once you've done a variant in an event, you can never do it again. Not during the event. It's one time only. Yeah, that's it. So it kind of makes it makes it a little bit easier, but it means that when the events come around again, you aren't guaranteed any gold chests for these older champions. If you've done them before, you have to farm free plays if you want to try to get chests. But that's the way events work. So we're going to dive in and we're going to talk about each of the events. Costs though. Let me talk about the costs first. The costs for things for Brother Uriah, because they are new, are full price. I know some people are like, why do they raise the price for that? No. Those of us who, back in my day, those of us who have been around here forever know that this is the regular price. This is the way they always arrived, was it's 100 tokens to unlock the newest champion, to do the unlock. And then it's 1,000 to do the first variant, 2,500 to do the second, 5,000 for the third. It's a lot, right? Free plays for all champions start at 500, and every time, and then you do one, and then it goes to 1,000, and then 1,500. So every time you do one, it goes up by 500, but it caps at 2,500. So the most you'll ever pay to do a free play is 2,500. So for those, for 4 runs to get a guaranteed gold chest, it's 10,000 event tokens. That's kind of, if you want to do the worst case scenario math, 10,000 tokens for a gold chest. But you're also getting 3 silver chests, or up to 3 more gold chests. There has been times where I've gotten just gold chest after gold chest after gold chest. RNG. Sometimes it's going to not give you, make you do the pity timer every time. Sometimes it's going to give you some good stuff. Now the older champions, to unlock Hew Maan and Vi, it was only like 25, so it's 25%, so 75% off to do the older stuff. So 250 fire mints, 625, and 1250. So it's a lot cheaper to do the older ones. All right, so let's start off with Hew Maan's stuff. So kobolds in trench coats is the first variant. Down here on the bottom right, we can see with the formation that there's some shenaniganry going on. The C means they're putting the champion in there, so Hew Maan's going to start there. And then these red X's mean they're putting in something to keep you from putting champions that way. So we know right away we're going to be down 2 champions, which means it's going to make this harder because we're going to have less power. Now the completion area is only 75. First adventure is always 75. Second is 125. Third is 175. So 75 isn't too far to go. So we can be down a couple champions and still do this. Depending on the rest of these restrictions, you can see there's a lot of text here. So Hew Maan starts in the front row of the formation. They can't be moved or removed. 2 of Hew Maan's human friends have also joined the formation to see them in action. So that's these 2 X's. Quest requirements are doubled in non-boss areas. And then the rest of this, it says getting to know Zerang. What they're doing is they're teaching you about how the different kobolds in Hew Maan's stack work. Because Hew Maan is definitely a human and definitely not 3 kobolds stacked up wearing a trench coat. Definitely not. So the rest of this is going to try to teach you about that, but we're just going to move forward. The main thing to know is that you get an extra chance at extra credit when you kill things when Hew Maan's in the front, when they are in the front of a formation. So that's why they're giving you higher quest requirements. It's going to slow you down a little bit, but one of the nice things about it is it's going to give you more gold at each level, which means you're going to upgrade your champions more comparatively to the level that you're reaching. So you can probably push through this without any huge problem. Now remember, Hew Maan is, well, we don't know this yet, but I'm going to tell a spoiler alert. Hew Maan not a tank. So you got to make sure that the formation you're building does enough damage to kill everything before it, generally before it gets to Hew Maan, or then Hew Maan might fall over. More dead than Hew Maan. I appreciate this white zombie reference. Hew Maan starts in one of the middle rows of the formation. It's this one right here. You can see with the C. In a 4-column formation, there is 1 front column, 1 back column, and 2 middle columns. That's how they do the breakdown. So Hew Maan in the middle. They can't be moved or removed. Relentless undead monsters spawn and attack your formation. This means when they're killed, they don't disappear. Instead, after 5 seconds, they get back up and attack again. This isn't really a problem. In fact, this is pretty fantastic. Relentless undead are pretty great. For anybody who needs to farm undead monsters for any reason, or for anybody who wants to farm kills for any reason, More Dead Than Hew Maan is a good place to do it. You can sit on like level 1 and just farm kills over and over and over again. This goes for champions like Zorbu, Dahani, Toragar. They're champions that like to that gain permanent stacks by killing things over and over and over again. So if you were looking for a place to farm one or all of those champions, and you have More Dead Than Hew Maan available, it works. It works. So this isn't a problem at all. Honestly, this isn't even a restriction in my opinion, because as long as you're killing them as they get back up, you're fine. So multi-hit DPS or an AOE DPS is going to get you through this just fine. Hit them fast, hit them hard. Hew Maan starts in the back row of the formation. As you can see, the C is all the way here in the back. They're moving you from front to back because Hew Maan has their abilities do different things when they're in different places. That's what all this extra text is explaining. We're going to talk about it when we get to the champions here in a bit, so I'm skipping over that for the moment. So starts in the back, can't be moved or removed. Armored abyssal chickens spawn in each area. This is always enjoyable for people. These chickens drop no gold, nor do they count towards quest progress. Every 10 areas, an additional armored abyssal chicken spawns and attacks. This is what we call a swarm variant. They're just swarming you with stuff that you have to get through to get to the stuff you want to kill. There's ways around this. So I'm going to tell you a couple of them. You may not do these, but there are a couple ways around this. Because the armored abyssals swarm in and then just rush you and then stack up against your tank. You can use a champion like Jarlaxle or Caddy Bree, who always attacks the furthest enemy, to kill the things that are actually going to give you credit and move forward. You don't necessarily have to kill, because you don't need to kill the armored abyssal chickens to move. And you can also use ultimates to clear things away. It means your tank's going to need to be a little beefier to take the beating from the armored abyssal chickens, but you don't necessarily have to chew your way through all the armored abyssal chickens. You can. It's a viable option, but just know there's more than one option here. You may need a little more favor because of all the armored abyssal chickens. So you might want to get, to E9 or E10 on your event favor to make this super easy. We're going to go down to Vi. For Vi's first one is timing is everything. So Vi starts in the formation, but she can be moved to other slots. She just can't be removed from the formation. Her arcane cannon ultimate starts out unlocked, so you get some nice bonuses there. All champion base attack cooldown speeds are increased by 8 seconds. That's kind of problematic. So this means you're not going to attack a whole lot. If you activate Vi's second use of her arcane cannon ultimate in the last 5 seconds of the ultimate's duration, its cooldown is immediately reset. What they want you to do here is actively play this variant. We'll talk about Vi's ultimate here in a bit, or Vi and her abilities, but just so you understand what's going on, her ultimate has like an activation and then a toggle, like a thing that you can get it to switch into something else where it's doing some damage pulses, and what they want you to do is they want you to kill everything with her ultimate. This is interesting. The problematic part of this one, you're going to want a little extra favor, or just ignore it, just so you can kind of ignore the 8 seconds and just kill things with auto attacks. Because here's the problem: ultimate damage is based off your something called Bud. It's base ultimate damage. This is the true indicator of the damage you're doing. It's literally the biggest hit that someone in your party did divided by their attack speed. Well, when you divide your attack speed by a much bigger number than normal, your Bud goes down, right? So all of a sudden their attack speeds are now 8 seconds longer than they were, which means your Bud is a lot lower than it normally would be, which means it's going to be slightly harder to kill things with ultimates, potentially. You might be fine, but just make sure that this definitely shows as green, difficulty easy. Maybe even wait until the next one shows as green or easy, just so you can overwhelm this with a little power from favor. Because this was not maybe the greatest idea. Time for a good hug is the second variant. Vi starts in the formation, can't be moved or removed. You can see the C back here, showing where they are. You can only use neutral and evil champions. This is on the good-evil axis. So if you see the word neutral and you see the word good or evil, that's not the right neutral. It would need to say neutral, lawful neutral, or chaotic neutral, or just say neutral and nothing else. That would qualify as neutral here. Or if you see the word evil, that will work because it does say evil champions too. So basically, as long as you don't see the word good, you can use that champion for DPS. This is specifically for the DPS role. And you can only use good champions that have the support role. So they're trying to make you play with alignments here, because of one of Vi's bonuses. Again, we'll go over that in a moment. Overall, not a horrible restriction. Just note, as long as you make sure that a neutral or evil champion is your DPS, you're fine. And you start at it's starter champs qualify. There are starter champs that qualify for this, so you should be good. Double our efforts. So right off the bat, we can see we're losing 2 champions in the back. So we're gonna eight person this, which means we're gonna need more power. So maybe a little more favor. Maybe a lot more favor. Shoot for E10. E10 or more favor. Probably going to be a good idea. 2 explorers join the formation. They deal no damage and can't be moved. Good champions deal no damage with their base attacks. So you have to use a neutral or evil DPS. Again, just like the requirement before. Again, there are core champions that meet those requirements, so everybody is able to field somebody that does damage. Just know that you can't use a good champion as your DPS. You can have your support champions be good, but they won't be able to kill anything early on. So this is going to be a slower push. All non-boss area quest requirements are doubled. Twice as many monsters spawn with each wave, and monsters draw off half the amount of gold. So they're just making you kill lots and lots and lots of things. You don't even get the benefit of more gold because they're dropping half the gold. So you're doing twice the work for the same amount of pay. That's never a good idea, folks. All right, so just more favor. More favor and you'll be fine. Brother Uriah's variants, these are the new ones. So perhaps I'd be safer in the middle. Brother Uriah, you can see, starts in one of the middle columns. They can't be moved or removed. Only champions in the middle 2 columns can deal damage. So your front line and your back line, you can't have your DPS there. And that's it. That's the requirement. The rest is just get to know Brother Uriah. So basically, Brother Uriah is going to buff this column and this column because that's how Brother Uriah works. So they're trying to tell you, hey, learn how to work with Brother Uriah. That's what most of these variants do, and the newest ones always do, is they try to teach you how to use the champion. Second one is perhaps an escort is in order. So that one, that first one isn't even a problem. You shouldn't have any issues just doing that one. Again, the minimum thing that I always say is make sure it shows as difficulty easy. That's when I say you shouldn't have an issue. As long as it shows difficulty easy, shouldn't have an issue. If it doesn't say that, you may very well run into issues. You're going in with less favor than you might want to, and that can be a problem. All right, so perhaps an escort is in order. So now we've got 2 escorts. That's these red X's. So Brother Uriah starts in the formation, but you can move them around. Uriah's Ezra's Embrace ability starts unlocked. This is a heal. I'm just going to spoil that for you. 2 ravens join the formation. Every 10 seconds, a boulder falls on a random champion, dealing 25% of their total health and damage. So 25% of whatever their actual health is. And what they want you to do here is get to know using Brother Uriah as a healer. That's great. He's got to be in there anyway, so you might as well learn how his heals work. What I will say, though, is the very best thing you can do in this scenario is to put Calliope, one of your starter champions, in slot 5, into this formation. Drop her right here above this X right here. So the third column, you want it in the second slot from the top. Put Calliope here. Calliope is a shielding champion. It says healer, but she throws temporary HP shields on top of your health. You're going to want to put her in her lore spec, so the one that lets her pop her shields faster. And whenever somebody gets damaged, she shields them as long as they're within 2 adjacencies. So if you put her here, she can shield everyone in this party. And then the second thing you want to do, like that's first up. The second thing you want to do is make sure that if you are using a 2-tank front line, like say Nayeli and Tyrell, only put only one of them in their tank spec. So if you put Nayeli in Devotion, which is her tank spec, put Tyrell in Moonbeam. I know it sounds odd, but the shields will help keep Tyrell alive. If you're going to put Tyrell in Wild Shape, put Nayeli in Vengeance. That way Nayeli doesn't get her health, because basically what we don't want to do is we don't want both of them to have their health share. Why is that? We want to keep the overall health of all the champions as low as possible, oddly enough. The reason is this is a percent damage to their health. It's 25% of their total health. Healing in this game does not keep up with your health gains. It just doesn't. So what we want is when the boulder falls, we want it to take the 25% of the health out of the shield. So the best way to do that is to make sure that it's doing less damage. It's doing the minimal damage, which means we don't want to put health potions out. We don't want lots of tanks with health share. We're keeping our max health low, so every time a boulder falls, all the damage comes out of the shield. Make sense? I hope so. It's actually the best way. This is a restriction you're going to get a lot in this game. And Calliope and any other shielders you might have are always like my go-to for that. And restricting my tanks, as odd as it may sound, works fantastically. Even in Trials of Mount Tiamat, even in in-game content, I use this strategy and it works. So do that, and this shouldn't be an issue. Because the big challenge here is just you're taking damage all the time. So as long as you're preventing that damage, then you can ignore it. You can ignore that whole restriction. Final variant, perhaps we should make haste. Brother Uriah, again in the formation, but can be moved around. You may only use champions from the Black Dice Society affiliation, because that's where Brother Uriah comes from. Or champions with a normal attack cooldown of 5 seconds or less, so fast attacking champions. There's a reason for this. One of their abilities is based off the number of attacks that happen in a party. They're going to boost things. So field whatever you can use. Because of this restriction, one of the interesting things is you can do here if you're not sure, because this is 5,000 event tokens. That could be 2, if you do this and you fail, you've just lost 2 free play runs for gear. So one of the things you can do is you could just go do a free play, but then give yourself, just manually, just only choose either Black Dice Society champions or champions with attack of 5 seconds or less. Build the formation out of that. See what it looks like. Try to push to 175. If you can do it, then you can complete this. So you would try it in a free play first. Once you get, if you don't get to let's do it this way. Once you get to 175 and know you can do it, switch in a regular party, do a favor run, push deep and get favor. If you can't beat it, if you realize, I don't have it yet, switch to a regular party, push deep and get favor. Try again in the free play. So you can use free plays to test out your ability to do a variant like this, because the variant restriction are things you can simulate in a free play. So there's a fun tip for you. All right, we're going to hop into a free play here for Brother Uriah, and we're going to talk about each of the champions. All right, let me throw some familiars out here so we can ignore the enemies. Oh my, Humon. Oh, this is Humon. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is, I promise. Brother Uriah is over here. No, here. It's like I gotta remind myself, Vi's all the way down here. Let me put, there, she's in her original. Whoa, I don't know what happened there, that broke. Humon, let's make Humon look like what everybody will recognize Humon as. There we go. Humon by Brother Uriah. There we go. All right. We're going to talk about Humon first. Humon, definitely a human. Definitely not 3 kobolds in a trench coat. In fact, even here it says Humon. They're human. Gender is a combination, so we usually use the gender pronouns they, them, because there are 2 males and a female in this stack. So, Age 67, I guess. I don't know. This could be a cumulative total. I don't think they've ever told us. This could be a cumulative total, or it could be that they're all 67, or it could be an average. I don't know. That's a good question. They're a rogue and a bard. They're lawful evil. They're support and speed. Humon, one of the 2 best speed champions in the game currently. So it is a great time to be starting idle champions or to be playing idle champions. If you didn't have them, now you have them. Enjoy. Enjoy. Basic attack is a crossbow bolt. The middle kobold, whoever that happens to be, shoots a random enemy with a small crossbow. So here's the thing about Humon. As you can see, they've got like there's inactive marks on some of these things. Their abilities, 2 of their abilities are based off where they're placed in a formation. So to understand what combination of effects you're getting, you have to know where they're placed. And you can see the information in here. It will tell you. So you can move them around and get different things, and I'll demonstrate that here in a bit. So depending on where they're placed in the formation, a different kobold takes the top slot in the trench coat and provides a different buff. Zrang. So Zrang currently on top. So Zrang's this, I guess, purple. To me, that's like a purplish color. But everybody has different eyes. Front column. So when you're in the front-ish column of a formation, enemies have a % chance, mine is over 100 for reasons, % chance to drop double quest items or count for double quest progress. This is their speed effect. This is their speed effect. So they only provide speed effects to your formation if they're in the front column or columns. I say columns because in a 5-column formation, the game considers the first 2 columns the front, the back 2 columns the back, the 1 column in the middle, the middle. In a 4-column formation, it's the first front column, the back column, and then the 2 columns are the middle. With 6, it would be 2, 2, and 2. So it's always going to tell you, if you're confused, it's always going to tell you in here. It says front column, middle 2 columns. If it was a 2-column, it would say front 2 columns, and it would say middle column, or middle 2 columns, back 2 columns. It's going to tell you in here. So look if you're not sure. Look if you're not sure. So right now I have Zrang in the front. I get speed. If I were to move Zrang into one of the middle columns, Zrang goes inactive. Cleave is now on the top. It doesn't show it here, but it shows it right out here. Cleave is the red one. Reddish coloring. Increase the damage of champions against bosses by a %. So this is the bot. Like if you want to beat the boss, if you're specifically having trouble with a boss, Humon in the middle. Humon in the middle. If the boss has hit-based or armor-based health, so either of the segmented health is, successful attacks destroy twice as many segments as they normally would. So if you're dealing with any kind of segmented health boss, only bosses, you're going to get double credit on attacks that remove armor if Humon's in the middle. This is fantastic to know. This makes Humon very useful. Now, if we move all the way in the back, we're going to see that the yellow one, or the golden one, whichever way you want to see that color, is on the top. This is Yasa. So back column, increase the damage of champions in the 2 columns in front of Humon by an amount. So this is, if you're in the back, you're basically boosting, you're just doing a straight buff to damage for the people in the 2 columns in front, and that's damage against everything. So trash mobs, bosses, everything. So no, I the way I kind of think about it is putting a Humon in the back is going to let me clear all kinds of stuff. If I run into trouble on a boss level, I'll shift them into the middle columns. Then I get bonus boss damage. If I'm just using speed and I don't care about damage bonuses, then they go in the front. Okay. So hello, fellow humans. This increases the effect of Cleave and Yasa's teamwork abilities based on the number of other human champions in the formation. So this does say other human champions. It does not count Humon. Okay, this is important. This has nothing to do with Humon, except that it gives them, it boosts one of their buffs. That's it. It doesn't, that's it. I want to be very clear. And it's only Klebe and Yas's teamwork, so it's only going to boost these damage bonuses. It means absolutely nothing if you're doing speed. Phrasing. If you're using Humon as a speed champion, that's better. Yeah. So keep this in mind. Hello fellow humans is about when Humon is in the either the middle or the back columns. It's a damage buff. Okay. The number of others is gives you a lot, right? So this is really, it really kicks in, you know, if it's 1 to 3 other humans, it's not really a big boost. They do their best when there's lots of other humans. We can change the race it buffs based off in the specializations, though. This is why I call this out, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Carefully balanced. So, hello, fellow humans, is the Klebe and Yasa teamwork buff. Carefully balanced is the Zrang teamwork buff. So, carefully balanced is your speed buff. This is how you buff your speed effect. There is an item for this. This is why rainbow eggs are the item everybody talks about for Humon. Because this is how you boost Humon's speed and make them one of the best speed champions in the game. So this increases the effect by 1% for each champion adjacent to the kobolds. This means you don't necessarily want Humon in a place where there's only one champion adjacent to them when they're for speed. If there's a 2 or better, you want that. That's going to get you more of a bonus. So if we look, if I look over here, I'm going to get carefully balanced. I'm going to get nothing, right? Because I'm not adjacent to anyone. If I'm over here, carefully balanced is going to get me, that straight up 406.5. But if I'm adjacent to 2 people, suddenly carefully balanced now is 813%. And this affects the speed effect. So now I'm up to enemies have 182% chance. Okay. Going over, you may be like, I should explain this. Wait, isn't 100% chance just 100% chance? Doesn't mean that then it drops all the time. Why 182? 100% chance means you're guaranteed for it to count double. When you go over, that other 82.6 is a chance for it to count triple. This is what makes Humon such an amazing champion, is you can get not just double credit, triple, quadruple, etc. credit based off how high your item is and how many champions are adjacent to them in that specific formation. So this is how if you've seen me flying through levels with speed and like killing one thing and then we move forward, that's Humon in combination with people that reduce requirements. So like, you can one kill clear things. That's the power of Humon. Okay. Now we're going to talk. Oh, I've gone too far. I forgot to level up click damage, and now we're in trouble. Okay, there we go. Specialization. So here we go. There's only 2 specializations. Impressive coat work tends to be the go-to for most people. Impressive coat work buffs teamwork abilities. It doubles them. So you're getting double the effect of not just the speed ability, but also those damage abilities based off where Humon's placed in the formation. Use that one quite a bit. If you're doing a speed for Humon, you're always going to go impressive coat work. That's the only specialization that buffs speed. However, if you want more of a damage bonus, depending on what race is the most populous in your formation, if it's not humans, you might want to go look at the left specialization. Did we say humans? We meant. So if humans are your most populous, or you're doing speed, or you're using them as a speed champion, you go with the right spec. But the left spec changes the ability so that it would now use the most populous race in your formation instead of human. If you're running elves, if you're running elves. If there's a lot of elves in your formation based off some restriction or something, hello fellow humans wouldn't do anything. So you would and you want to use Humon for pushing and not speed, you would select this and it would switch that to elves. It does not change humans' race like Humon's race. It doesn't, because all it's doing is changing how the ability affects things. And remember, a Humon doesn't count for the ability anyway. So many people have been confused by this. They think it changes what race Humon counts as. It does not. It changes what race's Humon counts for the ability. So keep that in mind. We're going to go speed effect because of course we are. Let's go fast. All right, and the final ability here, please stand by. Please stand by also does the front, middle, back thing, but it does the inverse. It does the inverse. So the 2 kobolds that are not on top provide buffs passively. But these don't get buffed by Hello Fellow Humans. Of course they don't, because Hello Fellow Humans buffs the teamwork abilities. So when Zreng is on top, you get the buffs from Klebe and Yasa. Klebe and Yasa does, and if you're in the middle, then you get Zreng and Yasa. If you're in the back, you get Zreng and Klebe. Okay? So if Zreng's active, boss enemies move 25% slower. Sure. Klebe is active. Hits-based enemies have a 50% chance of spawning with a quarter of their hits already gone. This is nice. This just lets you chew through armored stuff faster. Yasa reduces the base attack cooldown of champions adjacent to the kobolds by half a second. Super nice. Super nice. So, depending on what you're doing, where they're placed, these are bonus. I consider these bonus effects because you want to place them based off teamwork, whatever teamwork effect you're doing. And then what you're getting down here are bonuses. But just know if you need a cooldown reduction, attack speed reduction, which helps Brother Uriah, you want to make sure that that Humon is either in the front or the middle columns. Okay. The ultimate is roll out. The kobolds pepper a random enemy with bolts, and something happens. I say and something happens because the ultimate also changes its effect based off where Humon is placed. When Humon's in the front, it doubles Zreng's teamwork. Remember, teamwork is the speed effect, so it doubles the credit that you're getting for the speed effect when Humon is in the front for 30 seconds. Humon's in the middle. Non-boss enemies are stunned, and no additional enemies will spawn for 15 seconds. So this basically stops all spawning of trash mobs, like these. If I hit this in the middle, they stop spawning for 15 seconds. Okay. This can be great. The only place I've really found this useful is there are some bosses in the game that endlessly spawn enemies. And it does that so that you can't, that your attacks will hit the trash instead of the boss. This is a great way to stop the trash from spawning and get to focus on the boss. Okay. Now, if we moved into the back, it reduces any active ultimate cooldowns of all champions in the formation by 25%. So when they're in the back, this is a great way to get your ultimates going faster. Every time it pops off, it's going to reduce all the current cooldowns by 25%. Fantastic. So different functionality all the way around for Humon based off where they're placed in the formation. Item-wise, a pair of damage all champions items because they're support. We get a Hello Fellow Humans item and the carefully balanced item. So you can buff the damage bonuses from when they're in the middle and the back, and you can buff the speed bonus. Fantastic. Ultimate attack damage, ultimate cooldown reduction. Feat-wise, we get damage all champions. We get Hello Fellow Humans. We get carefully balanced. These are the speed feats. We get an intelligence feat. This qualifies them for Strahd. This qualifies them for Strahd as a patron. Okay. And then, more damage all champions, more Hello Fellow Humans. So they go all in on hello fellow humans and carefully balanced. There's nothing for please stand by. Nothing for please stand by. Next up is Vi. Vi is another, supposedly another speed champion. I say supposedly because we've asked the developers exactly how her speed effect works, and even they can't really tell us. Even they can't really tell us. So people are a little unsure about how great Vi is as a speed champion. It's not super effective, we'll say that. We know that for sure. Vi is a female gnome artificer, comes to us from Acquisitions Incorporated, the live shows. Vi's played by Jeremy Crawford, the dungeon master himself. So Vi does support gold and speed. Yeah, neutral good champion. Vi has a couple different base attacks. Right now we see pistol. Vi shoots the closest enemy with her pistol. That is the base. That is the normal base attack. That is the normal base attack. Things are going to change here real quick. Now you'll see Vi's out here now looking at her phone, basically. She's got a little watch thing with a hologram. It's basically like watching your phone. Vi now is bored. Vi's bored. Vi's bored. What can I say? So Vi waits for a bigger threat before acting. Basically, we'll get to the ability, but basically you're killing things so fast that she's like, well, I don't need to be here. I'm going to watch my phone. So first up ability, a good example, neutral on the good and evil axis. That's this right-hand side. So this doesn't even work for her. Neutral champion's damage is increased by 400% for each good champion adjacent to the neutral champion. And it stacks multiplicatively. That's the good way. Additively would mean you get an 800% bonus for 2. Multiplicatively means you get a 160,000% bonus for 2. It's the good way. So you want a good DPS and you want to put someone like Vi next to them who is a neutral oh no. Wait. You need a neutral DPS and you need to put good champions next to them. So Vi would buff the good DPS. Do I have a good? Yeah, he's good. So Vi would be buffing Brother Uriah here and we can see this on incoming effects if they were a DPS champion. Okay. So ideally you want a DPS, a good DPS, and then lots of adjacencies if you have Vi in the formation. And you want those people to be neutral on the good-evil axis. Catch and release. This ability is the gold find ability. Not only does it help you with gold just while you're pushing, but it also is great for the manipulative gameplay known as Azaka farming. That's a whole big thing to explain, but just know that she's useful in both of those situations. So instead of a base attack with her pistol, there's a 10% chance Vi takes out her comically oversized blunderbuss and fires it at a random normal enemy. This instantaneously transforms the enemy into a small glowing crystal sphere that is worth an additional amount of gold when you kill it. If you don't kill it, if the spheres are just on the screen and you complete the level, it cashes them in for you now. It doesn't tell us that here, but that's a change they put in the game. They need to put this here so it doesn't feel like I'm making this up. I swear this was a thing they added. I swear. So you're gonna get a lot more gold with Vi as you're going along. Now here's the thing: she can't be bored to do that. So she's got to actually be firing, which she's not doing currently. Just know you're not going to get any gold until she stops being bored. Yeah. I'm too old for this. Vi gains some sass. If there are only 5 or fewer enemies on the screen, Vi waits impatiently instead of her base attack. And the delay, so that's bored now. And the delay between monsters spawning in a wave is reduced, depending on her sass amount for the duration of her base attack cooldown. This is supposed to be her speed effect, folks. So when she's bored, she's reducing the amount of time between waves. So normally a wave spawns, and there's a timer, and then another wave spawns, and there's a timer, and then another wave spawns. She reduces that timer. The problem is we don't really know how much. We just know it's based off the amount of sass, but they don't tell us like what percent does that equate to. We have no idea, and this is why people get confused about Vi and about how good Vi is. We just have no way to know. You'd have to go out and start doing lots of math, and like with timers and stopwatches, and it's just but nobody wants to do that. Just tell us what's going on. Just tell us what's going on, game. Specialization. So basically, Vi's going to start doing the catch and release stuff once you're not killing stuff basically instantly, which is fine. That's where you want effects like that to come in, like gold effects. You want them normally. You want them when you're hitting your wall or getting close to that. That's where you want to earn more gold. Specializations. Bless their hearts, her debt to repay, and a nudge in the right direction. So bless their hearts. Evil champions also benefit from a good example's damage increase. So this is the one where, the type of champion, normally she wants neutral DPS. Now it's neutral and evil. Okay. Her debt to repay, Warforged champions also receive a good example's damage increase. So both good and Warforged champions are counted when buffing adjacent neutral and Warforged champions. This is basically if you're going to use Warforged stuff. Honestly, I think right now we only have one Warforged DPS, and that's Warden, and they're not great. So, I don't know that this, if you're using an evil DPS, obviously you would pick Bless Their Hearts. If you're using anything other than, and if you're using Warforged, obviously you'd pick this. If you're using anything other than that, you go with the one on the right, which is it just doubles the effect of a good example. That tends to be all I ever pick, quite frankly. Then she's going to get a second specialization choice. One of these ups the gold, the chance of getting gold, and one of them ups her sass. So, for fuck's sake, this would double the speed effect, whatever it is. This one doubles the chance of getting that crystal sphere to drop. So if you're not using Vi for speed, you'd just go with the left. And if you were trying to use Vi for speed, you'd go with the right. But yeah, getting the catch and release, the left one is great for Azaka farming. If you're going to use her for Azaka farming, you'd go with this so she has a more of a chance to drop the crystal sphere. And that's actually what I'm gonna choose here. Just so that if we get to a place where, well, we could take the familiars off the screen, and we'd probably start seeing the crystal spheres more often. All right. Vi. I think that's everything for Vi. Yeah, she's pretty straightforward. There isn't a whole lot that you need to worry about there. Arcane Cannon. This is the ultimate. This is the one that's a little, funky. So, the first time the ultimate button is hit, a metal cockatrice appears next to her and starts dealing ultimate damage to the closest enemy every second for 30 seconds. So, every second it's going to hit the closest enemy with your bud damage. This is your ultimate damage. This is bud. The second time the ultimate button is hit, the cockatrice flies to the middle of a swarm of enemies and explodes, dealing 1,000% ultimate damage to all enemies in an area attack. So you can get the tag, occasional tag of damage for 30 seconds. If you're paying attention and you hit it before the 30 seconds is up, you also get the explosion. So let's do this here. Here's the start. You get a timer right here. They give you this nice clock, which is nice when you get a visual timer. You'll notice the ultimate is still lit up, so you can still use it again. So you would just sit here and you would watch and you would wait. This is why in that variant they want you using this to kill everything. And then we're going to hit this again as we get close to the... Look, it's in the red. Hey, when it's in the red, hit the button again, and it goes out and it explodes. Now this is now a long cooldown, but in that variant, in one of her variants, it resets her cooldown instantly. You just pop it back out. That's why I said it's a very manual play variant, because you want to hit it. Let it shoot for as long as possible. When it gets in the red, you blow it up, and then you get your cooldown back. Okay. Oh, and I didn't do rollout before. It's real. That's all it does. It's just peppers them with bolts. It's not a big visual animation. All right, Vi's, items, increased damage of all champions, because she's support. But then we go into abilities. So we get good example. We get catch and release. So this is the gold find bonus. We get I'm too old for this. This is the speed item. I mean, I guess if we just ran... I wonder if anybody's just dumped... Sean, has anybody dumped like thousands of item levels into this to see if it matters? I don't know. It's a scary thing when we don't know exactly what it does. Ultimate attack damage and ultimate attack cooldown. Feat-wise, damage of all champions is straight up gold find, because gold find champion. Good example boosts. There's catch and release, so this is another gold find. They didn't put a gold coin here. They should have. So you'd know this is a gold find one. This is the speed one for have a little respect. This is the I'm too old for this. This is speed. There's another catch and release down here. Again, this is gold. So this is actually the catch and release ones are the biggest gold find options if you're going for gold for her. These are the small ones. Catch and release are the big because they're 40 and 80. 40 and 80. Sounds like not that I know of. Yeah, it's tough. It's hard knock life for Vi. All right, Brother Uriah, our current year champion. Brother Uriah joins us again from the Black Dice Society affiliation. This is now a full affiliation in the game. All of the champions are now in the game. So there's 7 of them. Human Cleric of Ezra, lawful good, healing and support. Their base attack is magical, you can tell from this. Vi's is ranged. So is Humon's. I forgot to mention that. This is what melee's the sword. The arrowhead is ranged. And magical is the little, magic thing. Toll the Dead. Uriah points at a random enemy and deals damage, preferring enemies that are already damaged. So you'll focus on something that's already hit. They're not a DPS, so not a big deal. Doomed and Darkon is the base ability. Brother Uriah increases the damage of all champions in his column and the column behind him by 1%. So that's... oh, we're dying. I gotta put the familiars back out. So this, like, we would ideally here, the better thing is to have, like, Brother Uriah here, and then buffing all of this column and all of this column. And that way your DPS could be up here or back here. If you want your DPS back here or here, you'd have to put Brother Uriah back here, right? So that's the placement queue. That's the placement queue. Ezra's Embrace, Brother Uriah heals all champions within 2 slots. So this is within 2 adjacencies. This placement and this placement gets everywhere. This does not. Like you're missing right up here, right? So this functions a lot like Calliope. Calliope does within 2 as well. So this is within 2 of everybody. This is also within 2 of everybody. Okay. Either of these places works for Brother Uriah and this to heal everyone. So again, another placement queue. The effect is increased by 20. It's a small amount per second. It goes up as you level. The effect is increased by 25% for each formation slot containing a dead champion or an escort. This is a thing that Black Dice Society likes. They like dead people and escorts. Desmond has a queue off this, a better one, a multiplicatively stacking one. But they don't want to multiplicatively stack heals in this game for some reason. So, so you're gonna get, you're gonna get a little more if you've got dead people. There are dead people in the Black Dice Societies, so using them with the Black Dice Society gets you bonuses. In the Grip of Azalin Rex. So this is the attack-based one. After 100 normal attacks by champions in the formation, this is all champions after 100 attacks total. And this is I take this to read as their basic attack. I want to be clear. I have not heard otherwise from a developer. I take this to mean every time their basic attack cooldown is up and they go to basic attack, that's 1. if they get multiple attacks in their basic attack, I don't think it counts each of them. If a developer finally says otherwise, great, but try to factor this in as probably just based off every time their base attack triggers, no matter how many attacks they take. I say this because there's the achievement is based off this ability, and it can be hard to figure out for some people. So, after 100 normal attacks, Azalin Rex takes over Brother Uriah for 20 seconds. While controlled by Azalin Rex, Brother Uriah increases the damage of Nahara and all evil champions by an amount. So, basically, this buff only happens after 100 normal attacks, and it lasts for 20 seconds. It specifically only buffs Nahara and evil champions. This is your formation building. This is another formation building cue. It means Brother Uriah, you want Brother Uriah in your formation to buff either Nahara, if you're using Nahara DPS, or evil DPS. He's gonna buff with Doomed and Darkon for good and neutral, sure, but this other big buff isn't going to happen if they're good or neutral. It only happens for evil or Nahara. So that's the kind of formation you want to use Brother Uriah in. Specializations, we can either Book of Exalted Deeds or Book of Vile Darkness. So Book of Exalted Deeds makes undead and fiends his favored foes. So this is, if you've been playing with this season, the Flayer Hunters season, we now have favored foes as a mechanic in the game. This creates favored foes. Brother Uriah can basically mark undead and fiends as favored foes, and all champions deal an additional 200% damage to them. So if that's what you're running into, in your adventure, you'd want to go with this. You'd want to go with this because more damage, right? 200% more damage to the undead and the fiends. Book of Vile Darkness, Azalin reads from this. It increases the effect of the In the Grip of Azalin Rex ability by 100%. So if you don't want to deal with favored foes, or maybe there are no undead or fiends, you can just double the damage of Nahara or evil DPS. Okay. Pick as necessary. I just picked the left one because why not? I want to say that's it. Yeah, ultimate blade barrier. Brother Uriah creates a wall of whirling. Let me stop our progress. Creates a wall of whirling. I gotta set this up right. Whirling razor sharp blades of magical energy and sends them flying across the area. The blades come to a stop a short distance in front of the formation, forming a barrier that lasts for 10 seconds. Each time an enemy passes through the barrier, they take ultimate damage. So what you want is to kind of pair Azalin Rex, same thing, Brother Uriah, with champions that have some kind of knockback effect so that they move through the barrier goes through them, then they move through the barrier, then they move through the barrier, then you knock them back again, and a barrier over and over and over again. I'm killing too quickly to be able to do this. There, it goes out, it sits here, and then you want to knock them back and forth through this barrier, ideally. If they're killed just walking through it, great. But that's what the barrier looks like. That's where it's placed. That placement is where enemies start to take damage for the first time when they load in. So know that barrier does not work very well for stationary bosses that start out here. It's going to hit them once as it passes through them, and then it's just going to kill anything that spawns behind them. It also isn't going to do much if they're stacked up on your formation already, unless you can knock them all the way back across the screen into it. So keep that in mind. It is limited. Item-wise, I have no idea because I haven't geared him up yet. We're going to do that in a moment live, and we'll talk about all the items. We get increased damage all champions' feats. We get Doomed and Darkon. We get Ezra's Embrace. Those are the healing feats. We also get some In the Grip of Azalin Rex, but they do different things. One boosts the effect, so the damage bonus. The other two boost the duration that it lasts. this is a big deal. This means without, you can try to keep it up as quickly as much as possible by using speed boosts, like attack speed boosters and things like that, or attack speed reduction or things that give you extra attacks. That's fine. But you can also just increase the duration, or you can do both. So potentially you could end up with keeping In the Grip of Aslan Rex active constantly. One of these is 50% and one of these is 100%. I want to remind people, these anything that's a percentage are multipliers that multiply against each other. Anything that's a flat effect adds. So if it said it reduced, or if it increased the duration by 20 seconds, and another one said 15 seconds, you would get 35 seconds. It's pretty straightforward, right? But because we get 50% and 100%, we're multiplying each of those. So 50% would take us from 20 seconds to 30 seconds. And then you slot the 100% one, and that takes us from 30 to 60. So you can keep us active for a full minute with both of those feats. That's how that works. We're going to talk about gearing up champions, and then we're going to take a short break, a short musical interlude, while I drink some water, rest my voice, and then we'll come back and we'll do the Q&A. Sean has grabbed a lot of Q's, so I will do a lot of A's when we're done. But if you have more questions, feel free to fire away. Sean will grab them. So when you get new champions out of an event or a time gate, this is event or time gate only, because remember, time gate champions were once event champions, so they gear up the same way. They do not get gear from regular silver or gold chests. Regular silver and gold chests only gear up your core champions, so those ones you started the game with, and your evergreen champions. Those are champions like Hitch and Nerds and Dritzt. Most of them are like Dritzt and Azaka, who you unlock in the campaign by doing variants. Event champions, you can get gear out of Electrum chests, because Electrum chests that you get on streams like this one with those codes. Electrum chests will drop gear for any champion you own. But they're only going to drop gear that's white, green, or blue. And it's primarily going to be white and green. Blue is rare. Literally. Common, uncommon, and rare. They also get gear from named chests. So silver Brother Uriah chests. Gold Brother Uriah chests. Okay? This is how you gear them up. Now, I have a lot for reasons. I burned bounty tokens. One of the things, so I told you at the beginning of this stream, you get tokens. Tokens are how you do events. You get tokens over time, one every 25 seconds. There's no way to speed that up. You can't run multiple parties and get more. That doesn't matter. You can't do speed potions. None of the speed effects. None of that matters. It's a server-side calculation. You get one token every 25 seconds. So one firement. However, there are things in the game called bounty contracts. Bounty contracts drop time-based rewards. Normally that's gold, but when an event is active, it means event tokens too. So I dropped a ton of bounty contracts. I got a ton of firements, and I got a ton of chests. So free place for extra chests are a big deal. In an event, the order of operations you want for opening chests is Electrums first, then named silvers, then named golds. And honestly, I hold off on the named golds on when I'm playing a newer account, until I've opened all my Electrums and as many silvers as possible, until I'm at least full green gear. Because the order of operations, the idea here is to get you to full blue gear on a champion as efficiently as possible. I know people would like full purple, but full purple is an RNG hunt. There's no way other than brute force to get full luck or brute force to get full purple. By brute force, I mean just massive numbers of chests like I have. So you want to get to blues. The reason is gold chests will drop green, blue, and purple gear, but they have rules about them. A gold chest will always drop an upgrade of either green or blue. of either green or blue. So what you want to do is open electrums and those named silvers so that you can get your gear all green, so that when you pop a gold chest, the upgrade is guaranteed to be blue. If you do this, you'll have full blue with 6 gold chests, right? And that's the most efficient way to do it. And a full blue champion is a viable champion to use. Epic is the long-term chase if you're a newer player. So for Aslan Rex, I'm just going to pop all of these. I've saved these up since the last event, so every 3 weeks you're going to get a lot of electrums. And if you've already got at least green gear on all of your champions, you can save those electrums up for events, because you should be hunting the blue and higher with gold chests. Okay, so I got all of I think I ended up mostly. I'm gonna burn all of these because there's no reason for me to save them. I burn them all every event. And the system always takes a little while. Open one more. Come on. There we go. Okay. So we come back out. Brother Uriah is now in full blue just because of the number of Electrum chests I opened. The reason we do the Electrums first is because the silver and the gold are guaranteed to drop on Uriah. We know where those items are going. With Electrums, we don't, because they could drop gear for anybody. So we use them first. Why? Because they do have one minor rule, and that is if a champion has no gear at all, they're going to be drawn. Electrums will get drawn to that champion first. So what we're doing is we're looking at like all of our other champions, and then we have this kind of depression, this item depression with a brand new champion, and the Electrums will focus a little more there until they get to the equal, and then they'll just spread out normally. But there's always a chance, if it's dropping an upgrade, there's a better chance with an Electrum that it'll drop on a champion that doesn't have that level of gear yet, and that's how I got my Uriah all the way to full blue, right? Now, normally that's going to take a combination of Electrums and these named silvers. The named silvers, then, if you already got all the way to green or all the way to blue like I did, the named silvers are going to get you duplicate items. And duplicate items give you more power for the items. So duplicates give you item levels. So this is how we level up our and make our champion and our item more powerful. And then we go into the golds, and because I have so many golds, I'm going to be guaranteed to get full epic. You only need 54, numerically 54 gold named chests to be guaranteed full epic on a champion. That's because the pity timer starts off at 4, so you're guaranteed an epic piece of gear after 4 chests when you first start, and then it goes to 10, so 54 would be the total. 54 would be the total you need. I have a lot more than that, so I'm going to have a full epic Brother Uriah with a lot of average item levels starting off this event. And that was just that was the weekend chest. Boom. All right, so I now have a full epic Brother Uriah. Let's talk about his items. He gets a Damage All Champions item. He gets a Doomed and Darkon item. That's his straight up buff and his column-based buff. He gets the Ezra's Embrace. That's the healing, so he does have a healing boost item. And then In the Grip of Aslan Rex, so this boosts that effect on Nahara or evil champions. But instead of an ultimate attack damage item, which is odd based off what his ultimate attack is, he gets a specialization boost. So he can either boost that favored foe damage or boost In the Grip of Aslan Rex even more. Interesting choice. And then he can reduce the cooldown on his ultimate attack. All right. That's all of our champions. That's gear. We're going to take a short break. This is Kobolder number 1. Be right back.
Kobolds are really tough. Kobolds will steal your stuff. Kobolds we like to sing. Kobolds will take your things. Kobolds live underground. Kobolds we run around. Kobolds we like the dark. Kobolds don't need no art. We may be small, we may be last, but we are many and we're coming fast. So hide all your gold and pack up your tools. not that short. Kobolds, we're in your port. Kobolds come from dragons. Kobolds train your flagons. Kobolds deserve the praise. Kobolds are really great. We may be small, we may be last, but we are many and we're coming fast. So hide all your gold and pack up your tools. We'll stomp on your toes and steal all your jewels. Shiny rocks and bits of string, skulls and bones and slimy things, hunting treasures, lots of fun. Kobolds, take your stuff and run. Kobolds, we like the best. Kobolds, smarter than rest. Kobolds, hide in your groovy tree. Kobolds, stack tall as you. We may be small, we may be last, but we are many and we're coming fast. So hide all your gold and pack up your tools. We'll stomp on your toes and steal all your jewels. Kobolds, we fight and hurt. Kobolds, we forget words. Kobolds are super fun. Kobolds are number one.
I mean, I think Humon would agree, right? Kobolds are number one. All right, we're back. We're going to hit up the questions. I'm going to hit the ones that were referencing today's topic first, and then I'll hit all the rest. So if you have other questions, fire away. But just keep in mind, if you don't put question colon in front, Sean probably might not grab it. I see questions in chat that aren't in my document, and it's because you didn't put question colon in front of them. So just want to let you know, if I don't ask you a question, that's why. Infinite Monkeys, which chests are best for bounty contracts? I only ever buy gold chests. As an end game player, well, as anything other than a brand new player, I think gold chests are all that you ever need to buy. The reasoning behind that is, you will loot chests off bosses, and there's a large chance that it's going to be silver when one drops. I get like 7,000-8,000 of these in between events. I only open them when an event starts for reasons. And then what I'll do is I'll get like 500 or 600 looted ones, and then I spend my gems on gold chests, and then I just open up gold chests. That's why right now I'm to the point where I open up 3,000 every event. So I had like 600 gold chests, and I bought like 2,400 with gems. So this is how I refresh my bounty contracts. So I buy the same. I'm trying to buy the same amount of gold chests every event. That gets me the same amount of bounty contracts every event, and that keeps me gearing up all of those new champions consistently every event. Now, I did recently change. Last year, I was only opening 1,500 gold chests. Now I'm opening 3,000. So all my event champions now are going to be really stacked. And now I got to catch up all of my older champions to them. But yeah, I like everything that comes out of a gold chest more than just in terms of gems, because you get bounty contracts, you get blacksmithing contracts, you get and you get the higher level ones, and you get the higher level potions. I want all those things. Yeah, so I only ever buy gold chests. That's how I'm going to answer that. Let's see. T.S. Forrest, are there certain circumstances where some abilities are applied to Humon multiple times, once for each kobold? No. They made sure that Humon only counts once as a kobold, because for them to count multiple times would have broken things in the game. William Smith, how does Warduke's feature affect Humon's positional abilities? I don't know. Warduke is a champion that was introduced recently. And what their ability says is they invert positional formation abilities my brain tells me that means it flips it. But that's not how it works in this game. As Question Colon said in chat, what the game does is some weird programmer version of inversion where it's everything but, or if you just say it's not this. It's not this. Or everything but. So, if Humon... I mean, it wouldn't change this. This is a positional formation. Okay. It would affect if we were in the back, if we moved Humon into the back. It says increase the damage of champions in the 2 columns in front of Humon. If we put Warduke in the formation, it would increase the damage of champions in not the 2 columns in front of Humon. So the 2 columns in front of Humon would not see a bonus. Every other column would. Every other column would. And if we go down here, reduces the base attack cooldown of champions adjacent to the kobolds. Reduces the base attack cooldown of champions not adjacent to the kobolds. So what they've done is put not in front of the positional Q. Otherwise, you could say of everything but champions adjacent to the, whichever way is going to make it easier for you. Whichever way it's going to make it easier for you. Oh, they're in the same slot. That's fine. It's still, this is a good example. If you just want to say, how does somebody work? I mean, it would work with Brother Uriah too. That's why I read it. If it works, if you're putting Warduke in, just know everything's messed up and nothing's okay. Nothing's the same anymore. Nothing at all. I can't remember where all the new whenever they're new champions, I forget their position with their slot placement. So it's a not thing. It's a not thing. It's weird. I don't use Warduke specifically because, well, there isn't a real clear way to know what abilities are positional formation abilities in the game. You just kind of have to know and test and see if it works. And it's just painful. Everything is ruined forever. Gaarawarr summarizing Warduke, probably. Yeah. TS Forest, what if kobolds are the most used race in the formation? Then it would switch to then hello fellow humans would then count kobolds, but it still wouldn't count Humon. Because it specifically says, I mean, it's in the text, it specifically says on the number of other champions. And a human is what it's reading, but if you put kobold there, it's everyone except Humon. It doesn't matter. Humon, it does not count towards that ability ever, and that ability does not affect Humon's race. It's just about everyone else in the formation. Thundron, if you have like a green item and you get a blue one, it becomes blue with more levels than if you didn't have any item before. Yes, because you're getting an upgrade and it's a duplicate because you already had it. Yes, you're understanding that correctly. Getting more green ones adds levels to the blue one. Yes. Getting more, if you already have the item, regardless of what rarity is, if you loot another version of that item, you're going to get it's going to count as a duplicate. You're going to get item levels. It's also, if it's a higher rarity, it's going to change the rarity color. Item levels are a permanent feature of an item slot. It's better to think of these as item slots, slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That slot can contain a rarity multiplier. It can contain an item level multiplier. It can contain a gilding multiplier, which is shiny or golden. And it can now contain a legendary effect. But that's a later game thing. So whenever you get item levels, they stay forever. As you up the rarity, it's always going to use the higher rarity. And as you apply a gilding, even if the gild, shiny or golden, goes to a white item, it will be... Well, a golden would never go to a white item. But if shiny went on a white item, it would be in that slot forever. And we can visually see this in the collection. You see this, there's a wrapper. There's this shiny wrapper, silver wrapper around the outside of this box, and there's a golden one around this. It means, every version of this stays shiny forever. Stays shiny forever. But yeah, you're understanding that correctly, Thundron. Silly Simon, where are you hoping to make use of Brother Uriah? In Black Dice Society formations, probably. I don't run a lot of evil DPS formations. Like currently I'm using Jaheira or Narak. They're both neutral. Those tend to be my deep pushers now. I'm not, there are evil DPS in the game that people like. I think Brother Uriah might work with them, but, slightly. Maybe. Well, yeah. He'd work with Artemis, but he'd only have one. Well, he'd have two positions. Well, the healing. Yeah. I mean, he'd boost the healing, but I don't think that matters. It's more the Doomed and Darkon that matters. So, yeah. I don't know. Any evil DPS, if you're using evil DPS, you're going to use them there, but I don't use a lot of evil DPS personally. The Black Dice Society is great for doing Strahd stuff because if you have Nahara, she has that specialization of Barovian Bond that can pull all Black Dice Society members into a variant, even if they're not normally allowed. It gives you a very consistent group to run with. So having the full set of Black Dice Society characters now makes that a pretty strong, a stronger formation. I will say Nahara needs a little damage help. Brother Uriah is going to help a bit, but Fenn's really strong in that group as a DPS. So, all right, I'm going to go into just general questions. Yeah, Lightspeed. Good morning. What time are we? Okay, we got like all right. Running a little behind. That's fine. We don't have a ton of questions. The off topic a bit. That's fine. We get to this. I know you asked this at the top of the stream, but we get to the off topic stuff eventually. So, on Modron components, isn't a green 10% better than a purple 10%? A green could be upgraded, whereas a purple cannot. Correct me if I'm wrong. If it's the exact same type of pipe, yes. But I don't. Off the top of my head. Trying to think of where that would. So like we see a green 10% here, but it's directed flow, right? If we go to blue directed flow, it's 20. And if we go to purple directed flow, it's 40. So I don't know where you'd be seeing the same percent. I mean, that's what it's upgrading into. So like a flat 5% would go 10% to blue as its upgrade, 20% to purple. Well, guess what? That's where purple starts. So let me see, is there something I'm not thinking of here? A T at a 5 would go to 10 and then to 20 down here, right? Yes. So, I mean, that upgrade's already there. Like there isn't a 10%, there isn't a lower version of this that you would upgrade past. Let me see is there, yeah, we don't even get directed T's in green. So that isn't a thing. You'd get the directed T's in blue, but then that's the 5% into the 10. Yeah. So I don't, so while technically, yes, that to my knowledge, that situation doesn't exist. Yeah. Because the thing is the only time the bonuses are different, as somebody said, is it's directed versus undirected. But again, if I have directed here at 5% and or undirected, right? This is just a generic pipe. It doesn't direct the flow at all. It's at 5%. The directed is 10%. If I come down to each upgrade level is the same. So undirected blue is 10%, directed is 20%. Undirected purple, 20%, directed is 40%. Those are the upgrades you'd get anyway. You can't have, like, green limits the types of pipes you can get. You don't even get directed T's. There's no quads. You can get directed T's in blue, but the upgrade is a lot of what it has. Now, when you're seeing different multipliers, like this is a T that's 5% versus a T that's 20%, it has to do with how many in versus out. So 2 in, 1 out is a 5. 1 in, 2 out is a 20. It should hold true down here. 2 in, 1 out is a 10. 1 in, 2 out is a 40. Yeah, they should all follow the upgrade path. If they don't, a directed green will be better than a purple. Well, but comparing directed and undirected isn't a fair comparison because you're comparing two different types of pipes, and they each have their own separate upgrade path. So the green undirected is going to be is the same as a purple undirected in the sense that it's not better because when you upgrade it, it's going to end up at the same place, and it's the same over here. So if I feel like you're trying to compare different types of pipes. And they shouldn't do that. That's gonna screw you up. Infinite Monkeys, thanks for the legendary guide update. Of course, my guide to both Trials and the Legendary Forge, both of those have been updated for the recent changes, and I just did a video guide last week on both of those here on this channel. Please relate how your legendary strategy, particularly forging, has changed. So my strategy for reforging prior to this change was don't do it ever. My strategy now is don't do it. Potentially ever? I don't know. Don't do it, but maybe at a certain point in the distance, you could. Reforging is still horrible. The reforge system didn't change. It's still bad. And I still feel like you still want to just forge 6 legendary items on a champion before you ever go near the reforging. But even if there's a bad item, even if there's an item there you don't like, I feel like, hey, you probably just live with it. Upgrade your items, because when you eventually reforge, they're going to upgrade anyway. But focus on then forging gear on other champions and upgrading the good items you got. And then if you want to just go all in on one formation, then you could reforge. But reforging is this either it either takes a lot of time, because it has that stupid timer again, it doubles the cost, and then it takes a week for it to come back down. Or you can just pay increasing costs. So I feel like reforging is still that end game thing. When you've got all the legendaries and they're leveled up, and now you're just like, I truly just want to optimize this. Hey, there's a crystal sphere, folks. Oh, squirrel. There's what a crystal sphere from Vi looks like. And you just truly want to optimize the buffs they're giving, then you'd go into it. It's super expensive. It takes a lot of time. It's annoying. I don't like it. But the legendary system overall, I think, is fantastic. I think the changes to everything else they did in the legendary system, it was super positive. Yeah, super positive. I think the only way it could have been, there's 2 ways it could have been better. One, they could have made the reforging better. 2, they could have, if they had removed the favor cost from upgrading, that would have been neat. I feel like all the favor cost does is create a time sink. It's not even a favor sink. I think that's originally, it felt like they were trying to create a favor sink for people who had outrageous amounts of favor, and instead they created a time sink. because you have to do run after deep run after deep run after deep run, even in the same campaign, to level them up further and further, and it's just, that's a little annoying. That's a little annoying. But yeah, overall, good changes. Haggard, a little bit off topic, totally fine. Is it possible to do the quest for Strahd 250 areas with Tatiana? 13 net required, she only has 8. Yes, you have to have Nahara. You have to have Nahara. Nahara is this champion right here. Nahara has a specialization that brings, it's called Barovian Bond, that brings all other Black Dice Society members in. So if you have that challenge, that patron challenge, it means it should have only triggered if you own Nahara. So you bring Nahara in, you level Nahara up, and you choose Barovian Bond. And now you can bring Tatiana in. Joran Utopia, hello, I'm a new player. Welcome to the game. These are good streams for you. Is it worth it to go for Jaheira and the others? Yes. For the Mind Flayer event, as they are 3 time pieces each. Yes, you are right on target. Or should I focus on searching other meta champions? No. Right now, look, normally there's a whole lot of conversation I would have about who to time gate. But we are in an event. We are still in an event. We only have 2 or 3 weeks left, so this is the best time for you to pick up these champions, because they are half price. They are only ever 3 when they are in the event. There's only ever 5 at like the seasonal event, and there's only ever 5 champions at a time that are going to be like this. So grab them at a discount while you can. I will say Shandy, right here, speed champion, amazing. One of the best speed champions in the game. Top 5 speed champion in the game. Jaheira, one of the best DPS in the game. One of the best DPS in the game. Kreidel has been reworked into a dodge tank. Now, honestly, one of the best tanks in the game. So there's at least 3 champions, in my opinion, that are of the best in the game. Grab them. Okay, Neris, solid healer and buffer. Viconia does fun stuff. I think that's all I could really say about Viconia. Does fun stuff. But yeah, so grab some of these. Look at the seasonal quests that are up. Like what you have and who's coming in. Like I have ones with Shandy and Jaheira as my dailies a lot. There's a Jaheira one over here, so Jaheira definitely pick up so that you can knock some of this out. There's a Kreidel evasion one. Kreidel would be a good one to pick up. There is a Neris. I know there's a Neris one. So just Jaheira, Shandy, Kreidel, Neris, as you can get them. And also know that, if you didn't see this already, as you get seasonal rewards, you'll get a currency tier 1 with 1,000 currency, 6 more time gate pieces. That's 2 more of those champions. Guess what? Tier 2, 6 more time gate pieces. So you can grab all of those, and it's a great way to just inexpensively pick up a bunch of champions right away. After that, there are other things you're going to want to consider. But hit us up after you have all those. The Mad Mallard, who do you think is the best support champion in Seat 2? Look, Kreidel, I just said, probably one of the best tanks in the game. Blushy's here also, and is great. Is a great tank in the right situation. Merylwyn is fantastic for Azaka farming. She can generate a lot of gold. That's a very specific niche, though. Whittle is a speed champion here. Fantastic. Also does boosts attack speed bonuses and reduces attack speed and makes you attack real fast, basically. And Talon is used in click debuff formations. So there's a lot of options here. Who do I think is the best support? I don't know. I don't know that one stands out over the other because they each have a niche that they fit into. Like the only one here that could do click debuff is Talon. Dinar and Regis could do some Azaka farming, but Merylwyn's better. Whittle is the only speed champion here. She tends to be a priority pick out of slot 2 because of that. Blushy is an evergreen, so you're going to unlock her regardless. Obviously, I've fully legendaried her, so I think she's worth it. Same with Kreidel. So that should tell you where my opinions lie. Those are the ones I use the most. Darkash, how long did it take you to grow that amazing beard? I don't know. I trim it regularly. In fact, as people may have noticed, I've trimmed it recently. I took like 3 inches off of it in the last week. So, I don't know. Years. But I mean, I think I could grow this in like a year, maybe? I don't know. I grow my beard real quick. Garthurgan, party on Garth. Has there ever... I'm never going to not make that joke. Has there ever been a reason given for why Spurt's pack tactics doesn't interact with Humon as 3 kobolds? Because it would break... Because it's one... They count as 1 kobold. If they counted as 3, it would break the game. There are things that would break the game if you counted them as 3. That's why. It's a game mechanic. It doesn't have to make sense. That's just how it works, and you just have to accept that's how it works. They get 1 there. They count as 1 kobold for that, for anything. They count as a kobold and a human at the same time. You're already getting a bonus. You don't get more. Yeah, it would absolutely break the game in some ways, and they don't want to do that. It's not boo. Look, champions. There are already champions in this game that break the game, and they should. And in my opinion, they should be nerfed, because whenever you have champions that are truly breaking the game, it makes it harder to make other champions and enjoy and have lots of other uses. You just use the one, and then it's just boring at that point. I don't know. This is a puzzle game. You want to use all your puzzle pieces. You don't want everything to fit in the square hole. If you don't get the square hole beam reference, Google it. It's a game design reference, and it's super spot on. Everything shouldn't fit in the square hole. TS Forest, does Humon ever count as a kobold when concerning race-specific abilities of other champions? Yeah, once. They count as both a kobold and a human. Super Collins, is there a way to see how much total damage a Modron core is giving? Yes. When you're viewing your core, you hover over the start node right up here. This doesn't have any bonuses, but when you hover it over it, it would show. If I hadn't, oh here, let me just activate a core. There. I very specifically only have this core giving me speed bonuses and gold find bonuses, so, and health bonuses, but that shows it to me right there in that box. Signiscus no. Square Hole is an amazing video. 1010 will recommend. Yes. It's a very short, like it might be a TikTok, I don't know. It's very short. Just go watch the Square Hole video. But it's one of the cleanest videos on explaining the difference between good game design and bad game design I think anyone's ever seen. For the win 25, what's the best way to spin gems? I already have 6 familiars. Is it chests, gold chests? Kind of newbie here. Yes, gold chests. Gold chests. You buy gold chests to get gear. You get gear upgrades, you get item level upgrades, and you get all the extra consumables that are in there. Oh, thank you, Sean. Just put the video in there. It's fantastic. And you get all the extra stuff that's in there, but it's a power. You're gaining power in a variety of different ways by buying the gold chests. Now, if you look over and you have enough gems to buy the next familiar already, if you already have it, great. But saving up for it isn't always necessarily the way to go. It's just kind of if you have it, buy it. If you don't, yeah. I mean, you might want to pick up like one more familiar at some point, but again, don't necessarily hoard gems to try to get to it. Just buy what you can. Starcaller B, is it better to convert a shiny equipment to legendary, even though you get refunded a potion of polish? You're mixing your terms. Mixing your terms. Legendary is a rarity bonus. Shiny is a gilding bonus. Shiny goes to golden. Shiny goes to golden. So this shiny could become golden. It's the inner border. So you note the inner border here of the silver inner border. That's shiny. It says shiny level 362 at the top. you can get a golden upgrade. Here, golden level 354. Completely separate from the rarity, which is the outer color of the card, which is the orange color. That's legendary. So it goes common, uncommon, rare, epic, legendary. And it goes non-gilded, shiny, golden. So if you have a shiny piece of equipment and you make it golden, it refunds you the potion of polish to put somewhere else. Which is great. It's fantastic. Because the shiny is a 50% boost to that item slot. Golden is a 100% boost. Those are the only levels. There's no going higher. Legendary, it adds a whole other effect. So you can have a shiny legendary item. In fact, I have one right here. Because the gilding does not affect the legendary effect. The gilding affects the base effect, the epic item. Because technically, behind the scenes, what you have is an epic legendary item. You have an epic effect and a secondary legendary effect. So you're mixing some stuff up there. So yeah, it is good to take if you can get a golden, it's great, and you already have it shiny. That's great. Because you're going to get a shiny, you're going to get a potion of polish back to put somewhere else, and that makes picking up a golden even more worth it. Duplicate shinies, yeah. Like if for some reason you're fully gilded and you get a dupe shiny, it's 125 item levels to that item, but you can't get a duplicate golden. Slender Sama, I've been having trouble with the defeating enemies with the Snaris' spiritual weapon attack. Suggestions? Yes, there is a guide on the subreddit by Hew Maan 123. I swear, Hew Maan 123 on that season quest. It's now back. It's a few weeks old now, probably 3 weeks old now. Came out right when they made it right when they started. It works. It works. I did it around that time. I don't remember what episode number, maybe 146, GG2E 146, 145, 146. At around the 57-minute mark, I literally used that guide on stream to set up a formation and start work. And I problem solve, and I show how to optimize that to get that season quest done. My other answer to you is, or my other comment that I want to make to you, though, is you don't have to do it. It's okay. Your reward for one of these is 900 currency and 200 XP. Just doing the daily two daily quests gets you the same amount. You could just not do one of those if you wanted. It's okay. I said it was okay. Gingenome, what's the best way to farm mints? You can't. Yeah, you can't farm fire mints. But what you can do, you just have to wait. What you can do is you can open blacksmithing contracts. That's these down here. Or bounty contracts, excuse me, not blacksmithing. Oh, forget I said that. Bounty contracts. Bounty contracts drop time-based rewards. So any bounty contracts you have, pop them. That'll give you more fire mints. I have my speed team doing repeat runs of 50 areas to farm up the gold chest. Sure. But if I can get a stock of mints, yeah, you have to open bounty contracts. That's it. That's the only way to get more event tokens. That's all. That's all, folks. I think we're done. Let me just a follow-up question. Hold on. My question wasn't about either of those things. I don't see how bounty contracts get you epic gear. Bounty contracts, opening a bounty contract gets you event tokens when an event is active. It literally says it on the bounty contract. That's what people were telling you probably in chat. So medium bounty contract. Claim a bounty worth 4 hours of offline gold earnings. Also awards event tokens if an event is running. That means it gets you fire mints. It gets you 4 hours worth of fire mints. And you get one fire mint every 25 seconds. So opening bounty contracts gets you more fire mints. That's how bounty contracts get you more gear and get you epic gear. That's how I had over 100 silvers and 80 something golds It's because I burned thousands of these when the event started. Thousands. But you're already... my question was methods to get gold chests. Right, that's farming. You're doing it already, though. You just said you're doing free plays to 50. That's how you do it. There is no other way, and that's already the best way. You're already there. There is no other way to farm gold chests during an event. You have to run free plays. You already did the variants. That's it. The buying with the one in the shop is a trap because it costs 10,000, but you could run 4 free plays for 10,000 tokens and potentially get 4 gold chests. So you're already doing all the right stuff. You just need to understand that to get more fire mints, the only way to get more is to open bounty contracts. Bounty contracts. And I saw one other question. The DL12. So having a golden epic and upgrading to legendary won't make you lose the golden effect. No. Not at all. See? I'm right here. Epic golden. Or excuse me. Epic legendary golden. Like it's because it's all 3 of those things. But that's legendary golden if you just want to look at it that way. Yeah. The Mad Mallard, you're incorrect. You can spend event tokens on gold chests, but you don't want to. You don't want to. It's 10,000 fire mints to buy 1 gold chest. It's a bad deal. The only reason this exists is so the Monday the event ends, if you didn't do free plays over the weekend and you have 10,000 or more tokens, you can at least get something before the event ends. Because the moment the event ends, all your tokens go away. There's no grace period. So you can spend them directly on gold chests. You just shouldn't. You just shouldn't. But yeah, you run free plays to 50 over and over and over with your Modron. That's or just manually. Yeah. But you don't want to buy from the store. You don't want to buy from the store. All right, folks, that's it. We're out. Thanks for hanging out. This is the last CNE stream of the week. There aren't any more. It's Saturday. They'll be back on Tuesday. But if you like hanging out with me and on the Idle Champions, I'll be back on Monday on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. I do a stream called Idle Chatter. For like 5 hours, we play Idle Champions and do lots more complicated stuff. For those of you who have ever wondered how Briv Gem Farm, once again, I'll be doing that again on Monday. Because I broke my Briv Gem Farm and now I got to fix it. So if you want to ask questions about that, you could come talk to me there. Also, if you want to hang out some more today, I'll be streaming again in an hour on my channel. It's Final Fantasy Friday. We're playing through Final Fantasy VI, the Pixel Remaster. So come hang out with me over there. And yeah, nearby GG, I don't have a guide to Neris' spiritual weapon, but Humon123 does on the subreddit. Go look it up. We're going out with there isn't a song for Vi specifically or for Brother Uriah. So we're going to go out with an Ack Inc. song for Omen Drawn. This is from the desk of Omen Drawn, #ad. Bye, everyone.
Started out with a simple tune, friendly and saccharine like a cartoon. Let the listener have no doubt, they need to feel the fear of missing out. We'll inspire them with epic riffs and emotional music gift. Rouse your feelings toward our cause and our ad with arousing applause. And then the hook should be big and strong and catchy to distract them from noticing we're sketchy. Do a chord shift on the chorus to make the rooms adore us. There's more for us when we swindle their trust. On customer recruitment run, 'cause our old clients are all out of funds. Avoid talking about any deals, we just want to give them the feels. And then the hook should be big and strong and catchy. Distract them from noticing we're sketchy. Do a chord shift on the chorus, make no room to adore us. There's more for us when we swindle their trust. Take it down to a minor scale, demonstrate the ways our rivals fail. This song is a testament to our return on investment. And then the finale is soft and calm and nurturing, so they won't realize just how much they're purchasing. Try to keep it soft and sweet and gentle. Coerce these fools with something sentimental. Appeal to their greed, make them think it's us we need. Then we'll get tamer for the final disclaimer. There's more for us when we swindle their trust.
Yeah, okay, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.